Good morning, it's Michael Patrick Shiels, although you may be listening to us in the future via podcast at mibigshow.com or the One Touch app, Michigan's Big Show, starring Michael Patrick Shiels. That's okay if you slept in. I've got you here too during the day, and I'm happy to be with you wherever you may be, whenever you may be. Facebook and Twitter too. Great radio station you might be listening to right now across the state of Michigan. It's a Transfer Tuesday. And if you're thinking about transferring to Oakland University, check out Transfer Tuesdays. You can make an appointment, meet with an admissions advisor, and get a decision while you wait. Find out more or register at oakland.edu/visit. In fact, Dave Dulio is at Oakland University, the director of the Center for Civic Engagement, professor in the Political Science Department, and on our AT&T line right this very moment. Good morning, sir. How is the in-person instruction going these days at Oakland University in Rochester?
Good morning, Michael Patrick. It's going quite well, actually. We have all of the necessary precautions in place, including social distancing. Everybody in class is wearing a mask the whole time, including me as I teach. And it's going quite well. I feel totally safe, totally comfortable, and I most importantly, I think the students are happy to be there, happy to have some face-to-face instruction.
That's what we heard from Mrs. DeVos, Secretary DeVos, yesterday, who went out to visit a Catholic high school, Sacred Heart, in the Grand Rapids area, and she said she could just tell that young people were happy to be there and vibrant, and I don't think there are many students who would rather be sitting in a house or quarantined in a dorm or whatever it might be, maybe on some occasion, right, where they want to sleep in or whatever, but being together and doing it in a safe fashion is much better learning environment, don't you think?
I don't think there's any question, and it's why many of my colleagues and I have resisted the idea of going online with our classes, because the interaction in class that you can only get through that delivery method is missing.
And isn't it amazing, too, and maybe discouraging, that some people will say, uh-oh, those guys must be conservative Republicans. They want in-class learning. And that's not the case. I mean, maybe for some people it is, but I'm surely, I get the idea that that's not a political statement, that you want your students in the classroom and you want to teach them directly.
Well, I think that, unfortunately, that's how it goes, right? These days, where everything is politicized, everything is viewed through the lens of Republican, Democrat, Trump, Biden, right, left. And it's just not the case. And it's, the saying about what happens when we assume. I won't repeat that on your air, but but that, I think, people make assumptions, and those assumptions aren't always well-founded.
Well, from my standpoint, I'm not a teacher and not a student, so I can't really relate to what that must be like in either case. I just know what I learn on this program from people like yourself, and I appreciate that very much. And I despise the fact that somebody wearing a mask, or I guess maybe walking outside not wearing a mask, is viewed as some sort of political pawn, really. And that's what happens in some of the cases, isn't it?
It is, and that's an unfortunate reality of our politics today, where even the simplest activity, the simplest actions are viewed through that partisan lens. And I think it needs we need to move away from that. And I don't like the phrase, we all need to come together, because we hear candidates for office and elected officials say that way too often. And I'm not sure if they really mean that or not. And I hate to be cynical, but that's just my take. But I think that we need to realize that just because somebody else has a different opinion than we do, that they're not the devil, they're not evil, that they just have a different view of things, and that's okay.
You have Joe Biden calling the president a climate arsonist. You have the president blaming the forest management in California. They found something new this week to cling to.
Right, and it's going to be that way at least through the end of this election cycle, where again, everybody goes automatically to the most extreme position where they're not willing to give an inch on what they or their side thinks.
Interesting, the James Peters race here in Michigan. Gary Peters seeking re-election as U.S. Senator, the Democrat. John James taking his second whack at trying to unseat a sitting U.S. Senator, the Republican. The survey that we're reading from Richard Chuba is that 85% of the voters know the name Gary Peters. 81% recognize the name John James. But they don't have very favorable approval ratings. And that race is pretty tight if you believe the polls. What do you think will happen, and how will that shake down? Is it say anything also about the presidential election, that race is close?
Well, I think the outcome of that race could depend on what happens at the top of the ticket. I think the presidential contest here in Michigan is going to end up close, and I think that the James Peters race will end up close as well. It'll be interesting to see if we can, after the fact, determine if one drove the outcome in the other, and because I think it could go either way. I think you might have some folks who come out and vote for John James and then might vote for Trump. I think there might be vice versa, and it could happen the same way on the Democratic side. I think that both of those races are going to be tight, and because of that, it's tough to make that determination of what effect is driving the other.
Do you believe there are independents in the middle who are anxious, fearful, and angry, and they will determine this election?
I do. I think that they are I think that group of, I like to call them persuadable voters, that they can still be persuaded to vote for, say, Trump or Biden, or even that they should vote at all. There's a slice of those in the United States, in Michigan. I think that slice of the electorate is smaller this year than in past years, mainly because most people have made up their mind about President Trump one way or the other, and you do have some of those folks in the middle who are waiting to be convinced. And I think that's an issue with the Biden campaign right now. For many Americans, the vast majority of Democrats, I assume, not being Donald Trump is enough to get them to vote for Biden. But there are other Americans who are looking for more than that. And I think they're looking to Joe Biden to give them a reason to vote for him, not just against Donald Trump. And I'm not sure he's done that yet. He's got a chance in the next, several weeks, but he's going to have to make a case to those folks who are maybe not happy with either choice. And at that point, we're back to 2016 with those folks, where they didn't like their choices either.
Dave Dulio, and maybe the debates will have something to do with that. Thank you very much. From Oakland University with Michael Patrick Shiels through the AT&T microphones, where politics is our family business.
Helping those who need it most while building a better future. That's what Michiganders do. And it's what DTE is doing today. Giving 2 million masks to frontline workers and 600,000 to small businesses. Providing tablets and internet access so 51,000 school children can learn at home. And helping over 500,000 families across the state with food and shelter. Because for Michigan, we're always all in. DTE. DTE is taking big steps today that will power Michigan's economy for years to come. As one of the largest investors in the state, we'll spend $2 billion with Michigan companies this year alone, building critical infrastructure to provide cleaner, safer, and more reliable energy, while creating thousands of new jobs across the state, improving the lives of Michiganders today, while continuing to build a stronger tomorrow. DTE.
Protecting Michigan's waters is critically important, and so is providing the energy that fuels Michigan's quality of life. A tunnel for Line 5 is the right solution. This underground concrete tunnel housing Line 5 deep under the Straits of Mackinac means multiple layers of protection and virtually no chance of a leak into the Great Lakes. It also eliminates the possibility of an anchor strike, and it means no interruption to the energy that Michigan needs. Learn more at enbridge.com/Line5Tunnel.
Traverse City is more than a place, it's a destination. And for many, it's a dream, but a dream that's reachable and ready every single day, just a car ride away. Traverse City is diverse, though, from beaches to boating to bluffs to wine and food, shopping and snowmobiling, gaming and golf. The possibilities are countless. So become a regular in Traverse City, where you'll feel away and at home, because its people are its charm.
For more information on summer getaways, visit traversecity.com.